Hello everyone, welcome to Dcademy. So we are going to start class 12 chemistry for CBSE. So now this is the first chapter. The name of the first chapter is solutions. Let's start the chapter. In this chapter, we are going to study the different types of the solutions. Solutions के types में हमसे study तौदुनी को होजे. कई हाइने तम की बहाना दी binary solutions हारेगा. It is the type of the solutions which consist of only kana solute amaga solvent amaga yauni. The solution na kana solid oidoini ko liquid ana water ni water da ko na sugar hapchen ba salt hapchen ba hana tam gi sing bukatane ba. But here we are going to discuss the various types of the solutions that may be solid solutions, liquid solutions, and gaseous solutions. Then expressions for the concentration of the solutions. Solution to concentration terms then liquid solution, solid solution have a Raoult's law. See, Raoult's law is very important. In the previous class also I mentioned that Raoult's law is very important, and also the Henry's law have a Henry's law have a lakani. So this Henry's law have a Raoult's law ani sigi comparison part of. So in that case, Raoult's law siga Henry's law siga kari connection like have to supasana kuthana yamina siko. Then colligative properties hai kari property wo colligative property kawi or karam property sing sida change la agadi colligative property kawi have a sing sida khangdeni. So sida khangdo se kana da amana vapor pressure, amana boiling point, amana freezing point, and another one is the osmotic pressure. Yare ko sigi mari sida base toragani lakto se. Ji mari sida. Then after this kana no yung ko sida determination of the molecular masses hai ko colligative properties sigi matung ina molecular mass hot pa amasu yaw kaniba sigi molecular mass hot pa sida lakadriba posina kai abnormal molecular mass haraga van Hoff factor have siga yare ko. So let's start the first topic. So before starting introduction se hana happening in minasiko. So first of all, introduction to solution have a pose. Whenever we study or whenever we discuss solution target is the type of homogeneous mixture, uniformly distributed to the neighbor. This is not the homogeneous solution code. It will become as what heterogeneous. But whenever we discuss about solution, it should be homogeneous mixture. So homogeneous mixture, it is of the two or more components. Smile ramaga homogeneous oraga uniform and distribute taramagadi, it will become as what? Solutions. Alright? Then solvent hybisina karamba component haba larger quantity the yauriba component. Whenever there is the solution same paragadi, mainly two component tamni no haba solution da solvent habamaga solute habamaga. So first solvent hai tari karamba larger quantity de yabudo, then solute hai karam hojeba lesser quantity or smaller quantity de yabu potuna kay ojeba, it will become as a solute. Alright, then binary solution have matandari kay na hai sida yung containing only the two component ani dagi helam targadi try lacto niya yare ko. But here we are considering the binary solution, so it means it consists of only two component katanya. Then types of solutions ta. First is the gaseous solution. Gaseous solution hari kay oniba the solvent is gas. And what about this liquid solution? Liquid solution already solvent is liquid. And what about the solid solution? Solid solution already solvent is solid. Can you get it here? Siba uda kangani ko habedi kay gumba ko ni gaseous solution haram tarikadi magi solvents ka na diba gas. Liquid solutions haram tarikadi solvents na liquid. Duga solid solutions haram tarikadi solvents ka na diba solid so niba yari ko. Now next subtypes yung asiko gaseous solution have sida gas na solvent oiraga karamba types of solutions same yagi yung siba ko na khangi kay hana states of matter. Whenever we discuss the states of matter, there will be three states of matter. Main three states of matter tamiko. First it is solid. Another one is liquid. And last one na kana gas ni hai. So sida kay high solid liquid gas ni na gas in gas. Gas na gas the same solution. Yareko. Example la kana hare mixture of oxygen and nitrogen gas. Oxygen gas ka nitrogen gas ka ani se mixture oina leram tardi kai ko deba. It will become as gas and gas solution. See example se kau thokre ka. Ade target we can take the example of what? Atmosphere. Atmosphere is a mixture of gases. Various types of the gases may have a mixture ne carbon dioxide, methane, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. Every gas is mixed in the atmosphere. To make here have a say example BVI. Then liquid in gas. Gas the liquid yawa. Can you give an example of this? Yes. Chloroform mixed with nitrogen gas. Whenever we see a movie, hero na heroine je phagen tawugumba natragana vet na heroine je phagen tawuma tamsida they use what handkerchief amada kai capsule chloroform capsule chloroform capsule dikhange ko khoya adu ma si kaino gas neba yare ko kanano hapchali se liquid to gas da hapchali neba yare ko aduga chloroform se use to neba ngai ko karamba gas no mix to nitrogen gas kanada no mix to chloroform ga so chloroform is liquid in nature and nitrogen is gaseous in nature ani maxim mix to na kai form to liquid in gas solution se form to re then again solid in gas solution gas to solid kamai happy aduno na khali ko wakhanda tubu yai kamai na gas ta solid cha kiba for example iodine in air high ko za season nattaba aina camphor hareba camphor or naphthalene karpur do phi karpur harisi ko phi karpur se kamai taweba chumna sum thanaba matamda ma se sai sum pithagidro thai ko pithai se kai gino ma do nuksita sum change tawi bai ne nuksita sum yawgiba yare ko adu idi magi manin do sum chakhrabani na kai ore solid le rambado gas to sum chakreba that means solid in gas solution hai se tugine yare ko solid to mangi doineba adu mas phajin badi ai ko we have already learned in class 9 and 10 that sublimation haiba process ta adugi matungina kai change to we have nasai naphthalene or camphor or this iodine haiba pot sing se kai da change to we gas to lo change to we aduna mo sing sina form to solutions na karamba types of solution hagani solid in gas solution. So there are three subtypes of gaseous solution. Gaseous solution ki subtypes ahum legani kana no haiba matamda gas in gas solution, liquid in gas solution, and solid in gas solution. Ahum lere ko ahum sige tongan ba makhal ki examples myam legani ba. And then next subtypes of liquid solutions. Now here the solvent will be kana ba liquid se oidune ba. Let's see here, gas in liquid solution. Gas se kamana liquid de yaushallaga solution sem do no have a question ama lai chumi ko. So akoina soft drinks thai ko thai Sprite thai Maaza thai Fanta thai Coca-Cola thai natra sigum maya sing sida makhum hangdokpa matamda kaidawi the gas pumps out, right? Gas mo tholeba bru toraga bubbles na am paituraktra. What is that gas? Adui gas to kaina, that is carbon dioxide. Whenever we say soda drink haba matamda ka yawduna soda yawe hai natra soda hai matamda it may be sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate tumika sodium carbonate natra sodium bicarbonate hapga dikitawe bubbles myam thokleba that bubbles is what carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide say liquid ama hekta da for example ishing itam basida kone soda bagab sa hapchalaga kanan ni ene adu dikadorne bubbles me am pa khalakani ba makhum je set ka hang to pa pis ka tarakani ba yare ko adugi makhon ko ibudo that is the gas that is known as carbon dioxide hariba gas ne ba aduna kai haba gas in liquid solution ha matam sida ishin duda soda bagab thapchama matam na gas to already it is there chumi ko sige example se kaugre ningjandre hai targadi we can take the example for the pond water pukri ki ising de ka yawe it is already mixed with oxygen gas to yabugi natronga duna hingi da chumi ko nga sing sisu oxygen na sur kholi ne ba mi ka tanate ba si ka tanatna aquatic plants myam masut play natra aquatic plants myam ama sing si kai do no lo du si bo kana pe ko carbon dioxide no mo ne lo sin de sina aquatic animals myam dana whatever when carbon dioxide thadu ising so air to air ising so they will already get mixed into that water to the mixed or lay duneba So this oxygen in water hagira, carbon dioxide in water hagira, nitrogen in water hagira. Loina magsinse, it is gas in liquid solution niya. Yari ko. Then next, liquid in liquid solution. There are so many types of liquid in liquid solution. Yamam habi kana sidadi kana hide. Alcohol in water or glycerin in water. Alcohol in water hai tari kaino. Water the alcohol amount hai duni ko. Not the water in alcohol. Yari ko. Water in alcohol hai ko sida. Because most of the time, whenever there is high drunker amonati kay dorakani, they don't mix this water in that alcohol. Alcohol that water you mix daraga thakte baga shuka. But in this case, we are taking just an example that alcohol is mixed in the water. Alright? We can also take the mixture of Coca-Cola ko. Coca-Cola is mixed with water. Coca-Cola is also what? It is a liquid. And another one, water is not liquid natra. Liquid and is mixed already. It will also form karamba reaction. Karamba solution form tawni ba. Liquid in liquid solution form tawni ha. Yare ko. Chika dana te ko atopa sumya habi na sa glucose se mahithit luraga atopa ising da ama hapchalaga ani mix tok sanarega haso. Jamanare kayore liquid in liquid. And also winter matamda kitawi glycerin tay galiko or moisturizer tay tarakati moising siya kayo diba glycerin is a liquid, right? Then water is a liquid ni ani the mix of naraga tay tadi. It is also kayo diba liquid in liquid solution ni have solution type ni ko. Then for example, liklagi ising laure ko ising da mixed up with the other so ising bigi labidi liquid in liquid neba liklagi ama laure bislari ama laure ade tari ani da mixed up nareba liquid oja mahau tuma nagadra chamhana ni ising akam nadra aduna taba soft drinks ama laure ising laure ani do yan sinaraga angang da bithapu yaudra adugumba singsu kai oduba that is also a type of liquid in liquid solution oidunya yare ni ko. Then next, solid in liquid solution. Solid in liquid solution, there are various types of this. Example, मैम लेग्रे कई ना चीनी हापचलगा इसिंग दोअतपा, थुम हापचलगा इसिंग दोअतपा, और summer की मतलब दा थाई ना कोई अंगाव कांदे रसना पैकेट में चादो को रसना दो हापचलगा इसिंग दोअतपा. They are all solids. Solid oil gada basing do loy mag solid oil deba. Solvent oil gada basing na loy mag liquid oil deba. Yari ko. Sumay le rakiti karam reaction ka solution ka uni ba. Solid in liquid solution na nalakani. Yari ko. Now here, salt in water, glucose in water, and say any type of the solid substances that can be dissolved in a liquid, then it will be termed as what? Solid in liquid solution na nalakani ba. So, similar to the case of the gaseous solution ng manana, liquid solutions have this. So it has three subtypes. They are gas in liquid solution, liquid in liquid solution, and solid in liquid solution. Next, last type is the subtypes of solid solutions. Kinso subtype ahum legani. Karam bano yingsi ko. Gas in solid solutions hai. Gas in solid solutions have matam se kailaan eh. Gas ni solid ta kamay chang doino. Gas po kamay na solid ta chang doino. Have a question say. It is a questionable, right? Kamay na la is the solution of hydrogen in palladium hai. Kamay na yaron da siya. Hydrogen gas se palladium se hapchal laga tham doine ba. Yara ba. Ado tar ke di gas in solid. Chume ko. Ado katana na suma have yabra. Spoons amalay spoons to. Ako na gas se hapchal dagi pis kamalay bidu ko. Ado ko madu sukay ni have gas in solid solution have yari ko. But let's say here solution of hydrogen ga palladium ka se kay ba. It is the solution of gas in solid. Then liquid in solid solution. See the examples here. Mercury amalgam with sodium high. Liquid in solid high. Liquid in solid high. We know that mercury high. It is liquid at what? Room temperature. Liquid at room temperature mercury se. Now sodium it is already solid at room temperature. Solid or pochiga, liquid or pochiga. Ani magsapunilakan they form a paste known as the amalgam. Yari ko mercury ko hek paste mas hemam targadi. It will be termed as what? Amalgam. Yadeko. Aduna kaidorani liquid in solid solution se kana no mercury amaga sodium metal siga ani maksina pes yamam taragadi mercury is liquid in nature, that is room temperature ma liquid oil, and sodium is the solid in room temperature. Yadeko. Solid amaga liquid amaga form taramne kayoni it is liquid in solid room solution. Yadeko. Then last one is solid in solid. Solid in solid we have had alloy. The most beautiful example that we can take for the solid solution ni kay oy ni ba, it is alloy. Alloy si oy to ni ba. And alloy magkalama hay tadi kanano brass hay. Quite a live example ni ko. You can also take a stainless steel lulobuyay ko. Sikat na natin na atopa mayama like steel lulobuyay ko. So brass ko hindi kanano yung siya. Copper and zinc. Yarni ko. Copper with zinc. Zinc habasimaga, copper habasimaga. So pull up, yung silag taraga di pull up na solution naman sa gani, they will form an alloy named as brass. Brass na ko kaniba. So similar to that of the gaseous solutions and liquid solutions, solid solutions also have three subtypes. These three subtypes are gas in solid solutions, liquid in solid solutions, gas in solid solutions, solid in solid solutions. So here we have already come through three types of solutions having three subtypes of solutions each of them. Yari ko, mo'y ahum magtugi, tungan-tungan, masabtab, ahum sa tungan-tungan ay. Now here, next. Kung ano hujik lato sina expressions. Ko, expressions se kana-kanagi expressions na. Concentrations of solutions of solids in liquid. Solid na liquid ta habadi binary solution da. The solid is the solute and liquid is the solvent. Binary solution da. Ko solid in liquid ki solution sing sida expression khara mathematical expression khara use to gani adu ki expression no kana no yeng si ko. Sige percentage se mass percentage, volume percentage and mass by volume percentage set we have already learned from childhood. Habadi class 9, 10, 11. Ahum magsida dun tamal na aba neba. Ko, nul kay haba, mass by mass percentage ki sida kay no, mass of the solute. Yari ko, mass of the solute divided by total mass of the solution neba. Solution dugi ya diba solute ki component to the solution na divide into 100. It is the mass by mass percentage. And then volume percentage is half madan di animo to kay lag na. It will be taken into the volume. Volume dalo ni malag neba. That means volume of the component in the solution. That means solute ki component habitema. Makadaya sina kana solvent ki component. That means solution ki volume. Yanadra into 100. That means percentage ola kini 100 and always multiply to doon na ko. Si ani se yam to in hot krebans class 9 and 10 as well as 11. Yari ko. Last one, point number 3 de yaw sina mass by volume percentage have. Mass by volume percentage di kay na volume hai sina kay lak diba solution na volume na pila ni. Then weight se kanagin na weight lak siya solute ki sina mass to. Yari ko kg or gram de lak kaniba. So here, mass of the component in the solution. Mass of the component in the solution. Mass of the component in the solution. Haba mane total volume of the solution. Haba mane. Gan tayo ko sida hai se. Matak ki mass hai jaga se it is the solute. Maka the volume mane pi se it is the solvent. Daradra into 100. That means percentage po to ini have. So we have already learned this 1, 2, and 3 in the previous classes. Then here, parts per million. Million is 10 to the power 6. 10 to the power 6 has to do in So parts per million is number of parts of the component. Parts, sarup to niko. Karam magi sarup, solute ki sarup. Divided by total number of parts of all components of the solution. Solution do the yari component khuti mak to gi parts singdo. Adugi total do na divide already into 100. That means into 100 na to consider into 10 to the power 6. Yarba million the lapanina into 10 to the power 6. Percentage or empire di kaya 100. So parts per million today, number of parts of the component divided by total number of parts of the solution into 10 to the power 6. So it is the parts per million. And again, what? Mole fraction, it is represented by X. Mole fraction say X represent the mole fraction height parity kayo diba? The number of moles of the component divided by the total number of moles of all the components. number of moles of the component se kana yawgani ba ani yawgani ba ko binary solution haitaragati it will consist of two components. So component 1, component 2, or component A or component B, or solute and solvent han lakani ba. So number of moles of the components ki mole have ama lerani, total mole have am legani ba yare ko ani dumaki punjalaga tarakba mole ama. So adugi component tubu khana mole fraction na phangkani ba last kyan tabra habidi koina for example circle ama lere circle se tangkhai khai do hai taragadi 1/2 haidra hai ko. That means sigi saruk sima khatane ba lawrise saruk ani thokpagi saruk ama habane ba chamana na mole fraction hapu matam sida sune component se A ga B ga laye haragadi A ga B dugi karamba component no karamba fraction na lawdo cha kana A lawdo ni habagumba sumai lakani ba jadi B khata lawdo ni hairandi B na mathakta leraga A ga B ga na makhad lakani haba total juna makhada lawdo component na mathakta lakani yarba. So here, mole fraction se kama hol kani ha matanda if the number of moles of A and B are Na ga Nb ga orba number of moles of A is na Na orba kanda number of moles of B is na Nb oraga di kalaktiba mole fraction of A is na Xa na denote oraga Na divided by Na plus Nb. Then mole fraction of B is na Xb equal to Nb equal to 6 divided by total number of moles. Yani ko sumaina calculator kaniba. Habidi sumaina circle ama lere half khaito kre saruk machet ama khaktugi fraction patho hari 1/2 sumai laktra chamana ni duga yare ko component ama ki mole fraction patho hari component tugi nama takta makhadana total yare ni ko. The next is the molarity. Molarity has na capital F na denote tawgani and it will consist of the mole of the solution ko natragana solute gi mole divided by volume of the solution in liters. Molarity de liter da lakani molality da na kg da lakani yare ko amana volume da amana mass da lakani yare ko weight to lakani ba. So in case of the molarity the moles of solute divided by volume of the solvent. In case of the molality it is the moles of the solute divided by mass of the solvent yare ni ko. So in the case of the molarity it is defined as the number of the moles of solute dissolved in 1 liter of solution haise yare ko kaiguma molarity se khana lagadi kai oigadeba it means the solution or the amount of the solute that is dissolved in 1 liter of solvent. Liter se liter amada solute ki chang kya tumino haitari molarity karani ko. And then if molality oitaragadi kai odeba it is defined as the number of moles of solute per kg. Gram lo ina natra kilogram lo ina lakani hab. And then normality ka mass fraction da loidoni sig expression ki term sing se normality is na capital N na denote tawani and it consists of grams equivalent of solute divided by volume of the solution in liters. Grams equivalent of solute hai target magi pyramid mass to dum orani ko dagi ola lani then grams equivalent of solute divided by volume of the solution in liters. Then it is defined as the number of the grams equivalent of the solute dissolved per liter of the solution per liter of the solution liter amada kyam tumina adugi gram dugi magi fraction habidi total magi molar mass amle jangne na adugi gram dugi lawraga lai weight to dine. Then mass fraction. What about the mass fraction? Mass of the component divided by mass of solution high. Mass of the component divided by mass of solution. Nasai mole fraction duga happy maneri ko. Kai high saruk amma lebesida half kaido ki taragadi sigi pocha ina 1/2 oini haidra. Chamana na mass fraction hai tari mass of the component divided by mass of the solution. For example 20 ml ni hai siba. Ko saruk ani se sisna 10 ni sisu 10 ni. Adu tari 10 natra. She is a room to canal 10/20 with a tra. The animal secretary can get that 1/2 tadra. So mass of the component any of the component amagi mass putuani then mass of the solution my total journey adu solution to divide totally it will give mass fraction. So we have come across the 9 types of the expression. Karamba. Mass by mass percentage. Volume by volume percentage. Sikat na kana isa. Mass by volume su yaugre. Molarity su yaure. Molality su yaure. Then atopana parts per million ppm, mole fraction, and then normality, mass fraction. Yare ko. So mana 9 expressions are there. Now next, let's come to solubility. What do you mean by solubility? Solubility is happening. It is the maximum amount of the solid dissolved in 100 gram of the solvent. 100 gram of solvent ta kay kumba tumbang ngamiba amount of soluto. Adubo kay kauniba solubility. Maximum ni ko. When solubility na inabakanda hanangang o dikanda means in the previous classes, that is class 9 and 10, aduda kay hai saturated ka, unsaturated ka. Already learned these 2 types of the solution. Saturated solution habang ka, unsaturated solution habang ka. Ani zini na kay hai. Unsaturated means amount of solute se hapchal ligay adum or payari ba tumingay kando. Adum tumagay it is unsaturated. And if tumbangam drava stays ko adu yor katardi saturated na habado ko tumbangam dre hai tari saturated. So it is the maximum amount of what? Solute. In Canada, 100 gram of the solvent. Do di kay kauni ba saturated solution kauni hare. Jume ko. Then solubility is the solution in which water acts as the solvent. Solubility check tabong matanda amana ishing na to ba. Amana organic solvent or any types of the other solvent that bahana label ko. So solvent se kana or ba water or ba. Solvent se kay gumo water or ba. Then it is known as aqueous solution. Solvent na water already aqueous solution. Solvent na water o hydrogadi non-aqueous solution. Water o hydrogadi kana obi ay haba. It may be non-polar solvent. Ko non-polar solvent. Si ma'am sing jo means organic solvent ma'am obi ato pa solvent like kerosene gumba, benzene gumba, toluene gumba si sing na solvent or magadi it is known as what? Non-aqueous. Ising buhek o hydrogadi non-aqueous or yare ko. Then the solubility is of 3 types. Solubility sida makhan se ahum thon la kani kana no makhal ahum ja. Solid in liquid solution, liquid in liquid solution, gas in liquid solution. Karamba dono hojik solubility ngai se we are taking the solubility in the case of only the liquid solutions. Akoy na solution gi type sing sida kay hai gi nga side gas solution lai, solid solution lai, liquid solution lai sumai hai. But for testing this solubility test okay how matandadi we are taking only the liquid solutions type. So liquid solutions ta kana no solid in liquid, liquid in liquid, gas in liquid solutions. Yare ko. So let's continue. Solubility of solids in liquid solutions. Solubility of solids in liquid solutions have matam sida. Saturated solution habamaga, unsaturated solution habamaga takaniba or non-saturated. That means solid sina liquid ta hapto ni chumi ko. Liquid sida solid se adum hapchal lega adum ot pa yari adum tumi hai targadi it is still unsaturated. But tumdre have a stage to yograpedi and it is known as the unsaturated solution. Saturated solution. Amaduna unsaturated solution. Yare ko. That means kay gumba solid se adum hapaga tumda adum tumagadi ase unsaturated. Hapada tumda ba stage yore makreng laure kan harbo ko adu tardi kayo diba. It is saturated solution. Yare ko. So saturated solution is a type of the solution in which no more solid can be dissolved. No more solid can be dissolved have a condition then it is a type of what? Saturated solution. And in the case of this non-saturated or unsaturated solutions more solid can be added. More solid systems it is known as unsaturated solution. Then super saturated have super saturated when the saturated solution is cool. Then the solubility of the solute will decrease. But sahalaga tungraba matungda amuk phajana inghaleba inghala kana phamjalak matamno then crack 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 larga chini gumagi ga se kanjilak matang yawidana chini do sohanre ko sohangra matuna chini do puksala leramba kana kan laundra adugi kalliba poto that type of solution is super saturated solution ngare ko chini se glass ta hapchale ising glass am laraga chini do okharaga sum thama matamdo adum atopa chini chama so am hapcham yai ha tari that is a case for unsaturated sum hapcham lagi makha da sum phamthari eba adugi stage tuna saturated si khata natana akhona sahalaga amuk sawhangreba ojiki da mahi langthokre ko mahi langthokra matung sida amuk ka su hanna ingdala thamako kan makha du loi paksala lermeba ko kan ga laraga aduna super saturated solution. So there are three types of the solution, that is saturated, unsaturated and super saturated solution. Unsaturated na more solid can be added condition ko, no more solid can be added condition na saturated. Super saturated haragana hanadagi hapaga amuka sawhangre sawhalam matungda amuka tungdokre tungra matungda tadi last ta pura cool down tawrakanda kailapa mapangamon salakdo adugi stage na super saturated solution yarani ko. Then next, if the solution is heated ko, if the solution is heated it becomes unsaturated ice yai ko hoje kon hagi bakanda chaji chini myam thaksin ba ina ko chini myam thaksin ki badagi shawbungam dabse ina ising do mai thagalaga sawhale phajana sawhale ko mai je kana thara sawhalam ni na ma tum thokre ba then chini je mohan thaksin ni bulo adugi stage 3 yorba, that is unsaturated condition yare ko ising se sum no otpa matam juda tumgrabani tumaktaba stage to lakre mai tam thagale sawhala kana tum thokre ba dugi tumgraba stage na kai ko ba unsaturated. So when we apply the heat in a solution, if the solution is heated then it becomes unsaturated again yani ko. Then it follows the principle of like dissolves like hai kai gumma ionic solution same ge hai ta kadi pot ani makse polar oigataba ionic solution ate non ionic solution same ge hai tari pot ani makse non polar oiteba habidi charge puba pot na charge puba pot tumgani charge pudaba pot na charge pudaba pot tumgani hab yare ko. So solubility se kaida check togani ba magi process se kaida like dissolves like have pot se check kani hab my concept se yare ko. Then non polar solution na non polar da polar haba kangu sina polar da tumni haba ma sima clear re ko. Then now the solubility of solid in liquid increases karam kanda if the dissolution process is endothermic. Endothermic habanga exothermic habanga reaction da makal ani legi hai endothermic hai taragadi karamba reaction da absorb tawdeba heat se ko reaction do chupchan gi da absorb tawdeba use to gi ni hai ni ko. Then in exothermic hai tardi kai odeba heat se mapan bitok deba, that means heat se release tawba or heat se emit taw taragadi it will become as exothermic. So kai hai sida solubility se increase to e kap kanda heat se absorb to kanda, that means endothermic or kanda yare ko endothermic or kanda kaiba solubility is increases, but that means si or kadi solubility increase oi yai ko, that means enthalpy or the energy is greater than 0 already kaiba endothermic already solubility increase already. But in case decrease to ge hai tari ke domi haba it has to be exothermic, heat se released already exothermic already solubility handarani decrease to grani hai. So here 0 dagi handare energy se 0 dai handare adoi ke dorni exothermic ore ka the solubility so decrease tawre. So here we can get a concept of energy. Energy concept ta kaiguma energy se absorb taraga enthalpy ki value say greater than 0 already kaidoni ba solubility will increase. But in case it is exothermic and enthalpy se kaidoni decrease tawre 0 dai handagre doidi the solution the solubility to kadarani solution ki solubility so decrease tawrani yarani ko. Then the change in the pressure does not influence the solubility of the solid in liquid. Temperature whenever there is an increase in the temperature, the solubility increases. When there is a decrease in the temperature, solubility decreases. Temperature increased already, solubility so increased already. Solubility decreased already, temperature decreased already. Temperature decreased already, solubility decrease. Solubility increased already, temperature increase. Do pressure there is no effect. Pressure increase together, decrease together whenever there is no change. The temperature change later, the temperature the temperature change increase solubility increase decrease solubility so decrease but pressure increase together, decrease together, there will be no change in the solubility. Okay. Now next, solubility of liquid in liquid. Solid in liquid today, solubility say it is mainly based on the temperature. Temperature increased already, solubility increased on high grade. But now let's see in case of this liquid in liquid solution. When two liquids are mixed, their miscibility or solubility will depend upon the magnitude of the attractive forces. Attractive forces are whenever in the previous classes we have already discussed that whenever there is mixture, water the same has the target the hydrogen bonding the later, and then when we mix the substances or the solutions other than water nattaba atopa substance ama hapchalaga solution same high target the interhydrogen bond the interhydrogen bond form tawniba habedi intermolecular hydrogen bonding intramolecular hydrogen bonding tamgre ko intermolecular hydrogen bonding solubility se laini have liquid kidadi. So here liquid any mixed of high taragadi their miscibility or solubility will depend upon the magnitude of the attractive forces. Strong attractive forces ni have strong attractive forces other taragadi solubility high or increased or weak or it will not soluble or it will not. It means between the particles or the molecules of the two individual liquids is compared to the force of attraction which arises in them when they exist together. Force and is a kind of binding or targadi animal safe pasana mixed or adubu kaigumba hanagi force in hena kalalam targadi pot in the mixed or for example, akoine ising ga thau ga hada mix tong na matamda ising sina makha da lega thau sum mathak tar lecha. That means ani du gi force to oil du na yamna light oi greba ko weak oi greba force aduga water sine hena strong oi greba. So example khara hai targadi ko benzene C6H6 ka adegi carbon tetrachloride CCl4 kind smile le ising sa liquid in liquid solutions ki example ne yanani ko. So, ani se miscible hai. Akoina concept kara yawi ko miscible or immiscible or bahan hai se. This miscible means mixed tong na ba yaba. Liquid tasu mixed tong na ba yaba, mixed tong na ba yada bahan na tungan laidana. Ising ga thau bu mixed tong na ba yaga tro asi machin na ani se khatna ga dum lebini amana ising na mana thau ising ga thau ko mai lebini yaga no kan khabu ko ma. Or friend circle sing su dum haini de no ko. Madi ising na mana thau ne ani do ko mai na ya do no haini bu do adumai na liquid solution se matam sida miscible immiscible and leba miscible hai targadi amaso dum tinaba yaba mix tawna ba yaba ko but in case of the immiscible 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 hai targadi kai odoba mix tawna ba yadaba ngari ko masu magi thokpa leba masu mai thokpa leba ani do punna thamaga su layer ga form tawra leba ko magi smai boundary and tongan form tawna lai target it is known as immiscible yari ko but in this case benzene ga carbon tetrachloride ka ani city ke doba they are completely miscible hai fully mixed tawna ya ama hijin ba kan adum mixed taw phajana ko but here ethanol ga water ga se su completely miscible oi hai kai gina moise polar liquids ni hai ethanol so polar ni water so polar ni koina hanagi concept ta mamangi concept si yong ka like dissolves like hai ko like dissolves like habidi mana ba puladi masapu ba mani habalo ko gantai ko mana ba habidi for example wakhan mana ba masen pun taraga dike dawe wakhan mana ba masen do lingjen mana khale chumi ko jam mana na sigi solutions ki type same matam sida so liquid semu matamda miscible oiba kangu se kai oniba like oiginiba. For example, polar oiba kangu sina polar oiba liquid se tumhangani, non-polar oiba singsina non-polar do tumhaniba. Yare ko. So sida yauriba benzene ga tetrachloride ka si ani sisu miscible oil, ethanol ga water ga sisu miscible oil kai gini hai polar oiba gini hai. Polar oibasina kaidawe formation of intermolecular hydrogen bonding formation tawhalli haba. Ani sigi marakta intermolecular hydrogen bonding formation lairagadi it is soluble in water. So whenever there comes a question like why water dissolves ethanol, how ethanol dissolves in water, it is the same question. Okay, same question. That means water na ethanol combine dissolve to halino natraga ethanol na water da combine dissolve to rino hang taragadi kai haideba. The answer will be due to the formation of intermolecular hydrogen bonding between water molecule and that molecule. Yare ko piramiba molecule duga water molecule duga ani dugi marakta intermolecular hydrogen bonding formation tawbasina dissolve the halini hydrogen. Otherwise, if there is no formation of intermolecular hydrogen bonding form tawdre, adu erdi kai oidiba tumgadra? No, there will be no solubility. Soluble so orderoi immiscible ni harani. No formation of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Yare ko intermolecular hydrogen bonding yaudready soluble oidre. Then next up, when benzene and water mixed out haiba. Water se kaino haya polar solvent, benzene di kaino non-polar. Sida benzene ga tetrachloride ka carbon tetrachloride ka ani se mixed out je kaino ani mak se non-polar ngaktane ba. Kaya ko non-polar ngaktane. So see here ethanol ka water ka ani se kain hai polar ngaktane. Tumme ko non-polar na non-polar da polar na polar da. But now benzene have je water have je mixed out se le ba. But they do not get mixed. Mixed out sanadre. Mixed out sanadre pujulu yadre ba. Kaya kino there remains immiscible hai sin. Mixed out sanadre hai ni ko sa. Mixed out sanadre adu di kaino benzene je non-polar ni. Water sina polar ni. Polar oiba maga non-polar oiba maga ani do mixed out na ba yagadra? Yade. Polar na polar tawgadaba, non-polar na non-polar tawgadaba han like dissolves like han na concept si like grabane ba. Yare ko si concept si like bisina maram moiraga they do not get mixed. Means they are not miscible. Mixed down na dre. Mixed down na dre hai di kaino in our chemical term there is no intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding yaudi have. Yare ko. Now next, solubility of a gas in a liquid. Masaya kaya gra liquid ki di intermolecular hydrogen bonding. That means attractive force is some of the base toraga la. Now what about this gas? Gas ki di kay orani. Most of the gases are soluble in water. Water is soluble oil as well as kay ha in some other solvents like ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol hai se ethanol do ni ko ethanol. Ethyl alcohol, benzene, siguro may amsa so gas, they always stand dissolved away. Dissolved away. Then it also follows the principle of like dissolves like. Nasagi gas sisu liquid sida tumma matam sida like dissolves like hariba concept se puraga dum chatle haba mas. Yai ko ying si for example carbon dioxide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, the hydrogen chloride siguro hariba mayam sing se was a polar oil. Yari ko kana no hai sa carbon dioxide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide sigum hai ba gases sing sa loi nama polar oi hai. Polar nature lo oi hai ko. Then while gases like hydrogen gas kumba, nitrogen gases kumba have the molecular form the label sing sa nitrogen gas kumba, methane kumba sigum sina kai oi haba non-polar oi. Non-polar oi da munina water da insoluble oi. Kyan tare da. That means kaiguma gases kharasu polar nature oiba sings hai water to dissolve the we have. That is water na polar nature oiba na polar nature oiba gases sings hai mixed away. But hydrogen gas kumba, nitrogen gas kumba, natraga na methane gas kumba siguma sing sidi ka daweba mixed awdi hai. Kaigino mixed awdi hai siya. It is because non-polar nature or ambal. Polar oiramadi dissolve tawdoini, non-polar oiramnina dissolve tawdre. They might get dissolved in the non-polar solvents like kana benzene gumba, carbon tetrachloride gumba sigumba dadi dissolve tawgani ba because they are what non-polar solvent oibagi. Yarani ko. Then next point, the solubility of gas in a liquid. The solubility of gas in a liquid decreases with a rise in temperature. Kaidam kanda solubility of gas in liquid se handagi. Karam kanda no handadai se rise in temperature. Temperature increase the solubility do decrease the way gas ki wena ka. But the solubility of a gas always increases. Karam kanda no increase the kam kanda ne ba with the increase in the pressure. Pressure increase to rigai kay doni ba gas in liquid tadi solubility se increase to ni ha yari ni ko. Then irrespective of its nature my nature ta kashu depend on kay gumba pressure se bu hek increase to rigai kay doni ba solubility of gas in liquid always increases and decrease the way kam kanda temperature se increase to kana rise in temperature solubility decrease. Rise in pressure, solubility increase. Then last up, solubility of a gas in a solvent expressed in terms of the absorption coefficient. Gas की solubility से gas in liquid की solubility से कई term the p है kind absorption coefficient की term the लाकनी है. So in the next class, we are going to discuss the Henry's law. From this Henry's law, we are going to discuss it will be followed by Raoult's law. मैं हमसे लानी का concept में हमसे लोन में clear और नबे तक से for today. Hojik ngasi tahu berapa sih je habit recap और नबे तक का. So this chapter number 1. Chapter 1 की solutions have sida कोई ना है What do you mean by solution? Have a question से हंगा को मतंदा. We are going to say that solution is a what? Solution is homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture ni. Sida kaguma solution hai targadi it will consist of mainly two components. Two components to kana no. Amana solute. Amana solvent. Solute have a parts na larger quantity. Solvent have a parts in a larger quantity ka. Solute hai kana smaller. Solvent hai kana larger. Yara ni ka. Then binary solution. Binary solution we have high target kay haba. Only two component yaw have. Only two component. So only two component yaw gani. Then types of solution da koi na yaw krise first da gaseous solution. Gaseous solution. Magi subtypes ahum ka solid in gas, liquid in gas, gas in gas. Jamman na liquid solutions ki liquid solution ki type ahum ka habdi gas, liquid, solid. Then last ki third subasina solid solutions to ko makhal ahum thong na lai kana no gas, liquid, solid. Sumana makhal lai ko. Then see the lower rabo matung da akoy na expressions mayam may hujing ni nagi kana no expressions to mass by mass percentage ka. Next up mass by volume percentage. Mass by volume percentage, volume by volume se thogre. Next up, molarity, Then 6 subada ppm parts per million tawre ko. Next 7 subadana normality. Normality. 8 na mole fraction. Mole fraction. Mole fraction ga last mass fraction ga. So my expression ki terms khar tam gre ko je. Next solubility ki term khar tam me koi na. Solubility ki term na kana no. First gas in liquid. Solid in liquid. Last liquid in liquid. Gas in liquid te kaida base tawe haba. Masu chap manana solubility ki hek tawbakanda like dissolves like haribo pochida like dissolves like. See concept sida loina mag base tawe haba. Yare ko sida base tawe gas ki kai hana polar na polar tungani ko polar solvent na polar gas non-polar na non-polar ko non-polar na non-polar. Then solid ki kai haba solid ki de akhona solution makhal ahum ne ugri do kana no saturated unsaturated and super saturated yai ko. So saturated unsaturated and super saturated. Liquid in liquid ki de kai no hoje hai kaisa liquid in liquid so chap manai kai hana temperature increase tawba ko habidi mase yamna temperature da depend tawe hana hai gi ko aduna pressure da di depend tawde hana sigi pot sida sune polar na polar da hai se ko polar solvent na polar solute dissolve togani non-polar na non-polar solute. So ngasi class bhaw da akoina khangba ngamse kari kari no haba matamda ngasai solutions ki type makhal myam ama khangba ngamgre sigi matung na solubility kamai na depend togani temperature increase toragadi kari da depend lakani ko aduga my factors sing do have ne nagre ko sigi loira matung da expressions myam ama lakre. Then, in the next class, we are going to study related to the Henry's law and we will come through Raoult's law. And again, we will study the differences and similarities of the Raoult's law and Henry's law. Till then, bye-bye.